The objects in our homes are starting to talk to each other. Our cars are getting way smarter, and some factories are pretty much running themselves. Now, this isn't some kind of sci-fi movie. It's the world being built right now by two massive forces, the Internet of Things and robotics. So in this explainer, we're going to break down how they work and, more importantly, what happens when they finally come together.
So let's dive into the first piece of this huge puzzle. What if all the things around us could actually communicate? And believe me, that world isn't some distant future. It's already here. I mean, if you're wearing a smartwatch or you've got a smart speaker at home, you're already a part of it. But have you ever really stopped to think about what they're doing? They're not just cool gadgets. They are constantly sensing the world around you and sending that information out into this giant digital network. Let's make it even more real. Imagine your alarm clock going off is just the first domino in a chain reaction. It tells your blinds to open up, letting in the sun, and at that very same moment, it signals your coffee maker to start brewing. That seamless automated connection is the whole promise behind the Internet of Things.
Okay, so let's get to the big definition. What is this thing really?
At its core, the idea is actually pretty simple. You take a normal everyday thing, like a thermostat or a machine in a factory, and you give it digital senses and a voice. By sticking some sensors in it and connecting it to the internet, it can suddenly share really valuable data with us, and, just as important, with other devices. So how does an IoT system actually work? Well, it really boils down to a simple four-step process. First, a device has to sense the world. Second, it needs a way to communicate what it senses. Third, it has to process that information. And finally, there needs to be a way for us to interact with it. Let's walk through each one of those.
So it all starts with step one, sensors. Just think of these as the digital eyes, ears, and nerves for our devices. They gather all the raw data from the world, temperature, motion, light levels, you name it. For instance, this student project uses a really simple infrared sensor to detect when something is nearby. That little detection, that's the very first piece of data.
All right, once that data is collected, it needs to go somewhere, right? That's where connectivity comes in. Using networks we all know, like Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or 5G, the information gets sent from the sensor to a processing center. It's kind of like the nervous system of the IoT, carrying all the signals from the senses to the brain. Now, step 3 is where the thinking happens, data processing. This is where all that raw information gets analyzed to make a decision, and this can happen in one of two places. If the decision has to be absolutely instant, it's processed right there on the device itself. We call that edge computing. But if it needs more heavy-duty thinking, the data is sent off to massive servers for analysis, and that's cloud computing. And finally, step 4 is the user interface. This is how we see what's going on and take control. It could be an app on your phone, like the one here controlling these lights, or maybe a super complex dashboard that's monitoring an entire factory floor. It's our window into the system. Okay, so let's just recap for a second. IoT gives our world digital senses. It can see, it can hear, it can feel what's happening. But sensing is only half the story. What about acting? What happens when you need to physically do something based on all that data? Well, to take action, you need more than just senses. You need hands. And that, my friends, is where robotics comes into the picture. So, robotics is the science of creating machines that can basically copy or even replace human actions. To put it simply, they're designed to physically interact with the world, to be the hands that act on information.
But what actually makes a robot, well, a robot? I mean, why is a big factory arm a robot, but your dishwasher isn't? It really comes down to 3 essential ingredients.
Every true robot has 3 key parts. First, it needs a mechanical body, a physical structure that's actually built to do something in the world. Second, it needs electrical power, the motors and batteries that give it energy. And maybe most importantly, it needs a computer brain, the code that gives it instructions and lets it make decisions. This student project is just a perfect, simple example. You can see the body with its wheels. You know it's got power from its electronics inside, and it runs on code. That combination is what makes it a true robot, not just some remote control toy. Okay, so we've got the Internet of Things, which gives the world its senses, and we have robotics, which gives the world its hands. So what happens when we put them together? And here is where it all comes together. This is the magic. IoT gives us the senses, this whole network of data that understands the world.
And robotics gives us the hands, the ability to physically act on that data. Just imagine an IoT sensor on a factory line detects a tiny flaw in a part. It instantly signals a robot arm further down the line to just pick it up and remove it, all without a single human having to do anything. That is the real power of this combination.
And this incredible team-up is already reshaping our world. It's what lets factories run 24/7, what allows surgeons to perform operations with microscopic precision. It's how we can explore the surface of Mars from millions of miles away. And it's what's paving the way for the smart homes and smart cities of tomorrow. So we're building a world with senses and with hands, a world that can respond to our needs in real time. The technology is here, and it's just getting more and more powerful every single day. The only limit now is really our imagination. The question is no longer, can we do it? But what should we ask our smarter world to do next?